Hey everybody, this is my little 10-gallon quarantine tank, and I've got some fish in there that are actually being quarantined right now. The two little Endler's guppies you see swimming around, those are sort of permanent residents in the tank. They're always in there. That just keeps the cycle going. I've also got a couple of coolie loaches that went in this tank. I've never really been able to get them out. They just kind of stay hidden and buried in the substrate most of the time, and so I never worry about them. But I did recently purchase four, I'm sure by now you've spotted them. Those are flying foxes. They are not Siamese algae eaters. Now, when I went to get them and actually picked them up at the store, the guy that was physically there to sell them to me was not 100% certain. He was assuming they were flying foxes because that's what was written on the tank. But when I had called earlier, being that it's a long drive for me to go out to this particular fish store, I wanted to make sure they had what I was looking for, and I was looking for Siamese algae eaters. I've got some of them in another tank, and they do a fantastic job. I've got a 40 breeder right now that's got hair algae growing in it, and I wanted the Siamese algae eaters, not the Chinese algae eaters, but the Siamese algae eaters, to get in there and do a job on that hair algae. So we had a conversation about whether or not these flying foxes were going to be as effective as the Siamese algae eaters, and according to him, they are not. They will eat the hair algae, but not as vigorously as the Siamese algae eaters will. And as these get older, they will need more of a varied diet than the Siamese algae eaters will. And I always give all my fish a varied diet, whether they're sold as algae eaters or not. Pretty much all fish need a varied diet. No fish is going to live on algae alone. So I went ahead and decided I'd make the drive out there. Since I've already got some Siamese algae eaters, why not get some flying foxes? Because these are really attractive fish as well, both behaviorally and just visually. They're just really pretty fish, especially when you are here in person and you get to see them up close and you can see all that detailing in their scales and the patterning. They're really surprisingly pretty for as kind of drab as they look at first appearance. So, like I said, when I got out there, the guy that was there, was basically saying, I guess they're flying foxes. That's what he's got written on the tank. And that just got me thinking about the whole difference between the mom and pop fish stores and the big chain stores and the sort of mythology that goes along with them. That's not really the point of this video. I just did want to mention it. When you go to these mom and pop fish shops, it's always sort of assumed that you're going to have knowledgeable staff, and they all take an interest in the hobby themselves and probably have tanks at home and so on and so forth. And the reality is that mom and pop stores just hire people that need jobs a lot of times. And so you're just as likely to find somebody working in one of these mom and pop stores that is just somebody that has a job as you are to find somebody working in one of the big chain pet stores that's just somebody that has a job. And vice versa. I've met plenty of people working in the big chain stores that are absolutely passionate about animals. In fact, more often than not, they usually are. So, again, I've done videos in the past about, big chain stores versus mom and pop stores, and it really does boil down to the individual store. I've been in some really crappy mom and pop shops, and I've been in some fantastic ones. And likewise with big chain stores, some of the PetSmarts around here are not so not so clean on the inside and not so healthy fish and not so, the employees aren't so good at what they do. And then other ones really take good care of it. So, it just depends on where you go. You can't just lump sum anything, and fish stores are included in that. You can't just say all mom and pop shops are great and all big chain pet stores are terrible. That's not the case at all. So I did get this at a mom and pop shop, and it's a pretty good shop as far as their variety of fish go. I've honestly had more mislabeled fish come out of that shop than I have any other shop, probably all other shops combined. But the fish they do sell are usually really interesting and different, and that's where I always go when I'm looking for something new or something odd. I don't feel like making the hour drive down to the highway. I've got two good fish stores I can go to. The one I'm talking about, and then the really good one, which is House of Tropicals down in Glen Burnie. That's the one I shoot video of. They let me shoot video in there, and I really enjoy that store. But it's about an hour drive, and it's just all on the highway. they're really, really busy and crowded on the weekends, and so I usually just, you know, that's got to be a special day, or I've got to be down in the area for me to go to that one. The other one, which I won't name because they've, you know, told me in the past they don't want me shooting video in there, and, you know, all right, if you don't want any advertisement, then I won't advertise for you. So I never talk about them by name, and it's an hour drive likewise, but it's an hour drive through the country. It's all rolling hills and farms and scenery, and so I don't mind spending an hour driving out there on a pretty Saturday afternoon or something. It's a small shop. You know, they've probably got less than 100 tanks in there, but they make good use of their tanks. They've always got interesting stuff in there, and so that's where I went. I got these. They've been in here for a week now. It is a good enough shop. I do trust them enough to know that if they say they've had these fish for a while, that they're not lying to me. And they did say that they've had these fish for a while. And I've had them in quarantine for a full week now, and I'm not seeing any signs of illness. I'm not seeing any signs of ick. I'm not seeing any unusual behavior or anything. So probably within the next few days, maybe the next week, I'll get them over into their new permanent tank, which again is going to be my 40 breeder, which was formerly my Black Ghost Knifefish tank. I haven't done much to it since my Black Ghost Knifefish died. I've still got the air stones sitting in there. The lid's still cocked open, you know, for the air hose to go in. You know, the water level has drained. I like my water to be all the way up to the top line. So this tank gets a water change pretty soon. I just did a water change, which is, you know, before I put these in here. So it's been a week. I'm ready to do another one. I am going to shoot a video about that because I found out, well, we'll talk about that in the next video. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll leave you with that little bit of a teaser note there. I'm going to be doing one more video about this tank, but it'll be a short one, and that'll be coming up real soon. So make sure you're subscribed, and you won't miss that or anything else I got coming up. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you real soon in the next one.